Nobody tells you the exact moment it begins. There's no announcement, no warning, no single morning when you wake up and feel different. But somewhere around your 25th birthday, your body quietly changes direction, not toward growth, not toward more, towards something else entirely. The science calls it biological aging. Your body has a different name for it. It calls it normal. And that is exactly what makes it so dangerous, because when something feels normal, you stop questioning it. Today, we go inside the body at 25 and we show you exactly what is already changing right now. This is under your skin. Every cell in your body has a clock. Not a metaphorical one, a literal biological clock built into your DNA. Every time a cell divides, the telomeres at the ends of your chromosomes get slightly shorter. When telomeres become too short, the cell can no longer divide safely. It enters a state called senescence. Essentially it retires, but a retired cell is not a silent one. Senescent cells release inflammatory signals that age the surrounding tissue. Think of it this way: a retired worker who sits in the office complaining loudly and making everyone around them less productive. After 25, the rate at which senescent cells accumulate in your body begins to outpace the rate at which they are cleared. And here is what your doctor has never told you about what happens next, because the cellular clock is just the beginning. The first system most people notice, even if they do not know why, is the skin. Collagen is the structural protein that gives skin its firmness, its elasticity, and its ability to bounce back. After 25, your body produces approximately 1% less collagen every single year. The collagen fibers that remain become disorganized, cross-linked, and less able to carry the structural load they were built for. This is not vanity. This is architecture. The same collagen decline happening in your skin is happening in your joints, your arteries, and your organs. Muscle fiber, something nobody thinks about until it's gone. Peak muscle mass in the human body occurs somewhere between 25 and 30. After that peak, a process called sarcopenia begins, the gradual loss of muscle fiber, year by year, without exception. After 30, the average person loses between 3 and 5% of muscle mass every decade. Without resistance training, that number is significantly higher. Bone density tells an equally uncomfortable story. Peak bone density is reached around age 30. After that, the balance shifts. Osteoclasts, cells that break down bone, begin to outwork osteoblasts, the cells that build it, and the architecture slowly hollows. The skeleton you are living in right now will never be denser than it is today. If you are under 30, this is your window. Everything you have heard so far, the collagen, the muscle, the bone, that is the part of this story you can see. What you cannot see is far more unsettling. The human brain reaches its peak processing speed in your mid-20s. Not your 30s, not your 40s, your mid-20s. Processing speed, how fast your brain moves information, begins its measurable decline at 25. The decline is subtle at first, barely noticeable for decades. Working memory, your brain's ability to hold and manipulate information in the moment, also begins declining after 25. And here's the part that most people feel but cannot explain. That moment when a word sits just out of reach, when you walk into a room and forget why, when the name of someone you know takes a half-second longer than it used to. That is not stress. That is not distraction. That is the measurable reduction in neural transmission speed that begins at 25. But your body is not passive in all of this. It has known about this problem far longer than you have. Your body deploys DNA repair enzymes, continuously scanning your genome for replication errors, correcting them before they compound. Autophagy, your body's cellular recycling system, breaks down damaged cellular components and repurposes them for new construction. Stem cells stand by in every major tissue, ready to replace what is lost, generating new muscle fibers, new bone cells, and new neural connections. For decades, these systems hold the line. The decline happens, but the repair keeps pace. The body maintains its balance. Until they don't. And here is what nobody in this conversation ever tells you. The rate at which the balance tips is not fixed. You have more influence over it than you think. Resistance training, the single most evidence-backed intervention for slowing the biological aging of muscle, bone, and brain simultaneously. Sleep, the most undervalued biological repair window you have. During deep sleep, your brain clears toxic waste, your cells perform their deepest repair, and growth hormone peaks. Nutrition, specifically adequate protein, omega-3 fatty acids, and micronutrients, provides the raw materials your repair machinery runs on. Without them, the repair machinery slows. Regardless of everything else you do, and chronic stress, the accelerant nobody accounts for. Chronic cortisol shortens telomeres and suppresses immune function and accelerates every decline we have discussed today. Aging is not something that happens to you, it's something your body does continuously with or without your participation. But participation changes everything. Not the outcome, the trajectory. You are already in the race. The only question is whether you know it. Next week, we'll go somewhere you have never been before, inside the human body, how DNA actually works. Subscribe so you don't miss it. This has been Under Your Skin. Sleep well.